Hi guys.
Saturday. It's market day on a Saturday. Here we are.
Yeah, we are back. I hope you guys had a good week, and we're just here to, as we promised, that we're gonna have a second part of talking about carbohydrates, and it's been a good week for us. I think we had a wedding yesterday.
Wedding last night.
Yeah,
that was fun. Drank a bit much.
No, not me. You.
Oh, just me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Whoops. Well, that's a wedding. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. So I hope you guys will find this interesting. We're going to talk about carbohydrates. So
okay. Well, let's talk about that.
I am holding cauliflower.
And some
cauli.
And then we
got some zucchini.
Okay. So
Yes. So
and some green leafies. So
how much carbohydrates are in those? The same carbohydrates as the ones that are found in things like sweet potato. It's quite big,
yes and no.
it?
Yes and no.
And potatoes.
Potato, sweet potato.
Yeah.
Kale, broccoli, they're all different. So they used to classify this like this, and this made sense, and it's probably the easiest way of understanding it. They seem to have changed that now for some reason, but what they used to say is that things like broccoli and green leafies and cauliflower were classified as 5%ers because they have about 5% carbohydrate content. The rest is fibre and different minerals and different kinds of things. Sweet potato is a little bit more. It's more about the 10 to 15%. And potatoes are more like 20% carbohydrate.
Yeah.
White potatoes.
Yeah.
So they're always seen as the most problematic if the objective is to lose weight. And the reason why that is because the higher the carbohydrate content, then more insulin is going to be secreted from the pancreas.
Yeah.
And this is what drives weight gain. So basically, the more insulin that you have in your bloodstream, you're really telling your body to store any excess as fat. So any excess carbohydrates that you have, any of that glucose. Glucose is just a fancy name for sugars, carbs being broken down into a simple sugar. So if you have any of this in excess, some of it will get used in cells immediately, but anything that's left over will then immediately be converted to a fat and stored, shoved into a fat cell. Okay.
So that's kind of processed carbohydrates, we can say.
Processed are even worse. So they're definitely, but even within the what everyone would think was healthy carbs, you can see differences there.
Yeah.
So if you and then you look at potato chips or white rice or white flour, these things have a much higher carbohydrate content, and they're also have a much stronger effect to raise your blood sugar, and your pancreas is going to secrete more insulin because they're very fine. So it has a much stronger effect. The reason that some of these other kind of fibrous things are slower is because fibre takes longer to break down and it's more of a binding aspect. So they don't raise your blood sugar as quickly. Okay,
I have an interesting question for you. Right. I hear this with lots of people talk about, the difference between fats and protein. What sort of effect does that have on your body?
Yeah, that's a good question. So understand the three main things called macronutrients, which is just a fancy word for carbohydrates, protein, or fat. Yeah. So these are called macronutrients, and the effect of them on the body is quite different. So carbohydrates, no matter really where they come from, these things get digested fastest, which means they get broken down into sugar very quickly. They don't spend very long in your stomach before they're broken down. Protein takes longer to digest because the protein is a stronger kind of a molecule, and you have to cleave off the amino acids. That takes more time for your body to do that. And fats take the longest of all, which is why fats keep you fuller for longer. Okay. So it's why it's really good to combine. If you're going to have carbs, you need to have some protein or some fat with it because it will just make you fuller for longer. If you just eat carbohydrate, you'll be full, but your stomach will be empty very quickly, and then you'll also be ravenous.
Okay.
You'll be very, very hungry.
But let's talk about another thing as well. Pairing your meal, like fats and carbohydrates. Yep. So does it mean it has to be good fats and probably vegetables that are low, you've got low glycemic index.
That will be better for you. So, the way that I prepare most of these things always is to drench them in butter or olive oil or have some coconut oil or something in some healthy fat, because it keeps you fuller. And these are good fats. They're good for you. They're important for the body. So yes.
Yeah, I think another combination of food that I always find a bit interesting and questionable is when you pair your bread. Let's talk about bread, like white bread.
Bread, no, no white bread.
Yeah, but when you pair white bread, and you put avocado,
it makes it better. Yes,
it makes it better,
but you're still eating white bread, and that's still going to be a bit of a problem because there's very little nutrition in white foods.
Bread,
white bread, white rice, any kind of white flour things, and that's when they talk about fortifying stuff. So what they basically do is they strip out all the nutrition. There's no difference between brown rice and white rice. It's the same rice. The difference is the white is the very centre carby bit, and the brown is
the whole thing.
Well, it's all the excess. It's all the minerals and the fibre and the vitamins that surround that grain. And so they strip all that off, and then you just have the white part, which obviously is a lot more damaging. And then if they're going to fortify that food, what that means is they've taken all the nutrition out. You see this on cereals sometimes. And they're going to fortify it, which means they have to add something back to it. So they have to add something to it to make it at least slightly nutritious.
Wow.
So it goes from being nutritious to being really deficient, and then they've got to refortify it with something, B vitamins or vitamin C.
So
natural food. So that's the point, because you've got all that nutrition in there to begin with. So why take it out and then have to re-add it? That's dumb. That doesn't make sense.
So fats, we have, we talk about fats, things like cheese. And
cheese and avos are good. Coconut's good. Butter's good. Olives are good.
What about carrots? These are kind of root vegetables.
They are, and so you've got to be a bit cautious with the root vegetables because they're quite sweet and sugary. That is going to have an effect on raising your blood sugar if you have that to excess. So having them here and there is not really that much of a drama. But people that juice a lot of carrots, I quite like carrot juice, but it is really sweet. It is very sugary, so you have to be cautious of that because you are straining out most of the fibre and you're just having the juice. And that can be an issue if you overdo it.
I love my carrots though, but
I love them too. You just don't overdo it. So
that's quite an interesting conversation we've had today. And I think one other thing is the fact that you always talk about that you're better off eating ice cream.
Oh no, not better not eating ice cream. No, we were talking about this before. So this is it. So this is a really important point. This is why I talk down potatoes a bit. I do like them. I was brought up on them, but the problem with potatoes, right, is that they raise your blood sugar faster than eating ice cream does.
Repeat that, please.
You may have thought that you misheard that.
I love ice cream.
We love ice cream, but the point is, potatoes will have more damaging effect on your blood sugar than eating ice cream does. And the reason why is because these are 20%ers. These are really just pure carbohydrates. With ice cream, yes, you have a lot of sugar. It's got a lot of carb in it, but it also has a lot of fat and cream in it. And that slows down the digestion, so it's not as damaging for blood sugar.
I guess you're just trying to prove your point.
Yes, let's have a disclaimer here. We're not saying eat ice cream for breakfast. That's not what we're saying at all.
That.
I'm saying this is one of the problems for potatoes is that that if you overdo it and if you're trying to lose weight, you shouldn't be eating them really at all because you're telling your body to store fat, to take any of that excess and convert it immediately into fat. It's almost impossible to lose weight eating potatoes. Sweet potatoes are a bit different. But
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Pleasure.
So I think we've come to the end of our talk today. So we're just going to introduce a little bit about legumes because that's our next talks. So this is...
These are sprouted chickpeas. And I was joking before about saying that they're very complex to do. They're not complex to do. They're very simple to do. All I did, I made a mistake. I soaked these. And they went to soak them to cook. And I left them in a cupboard for 2 or 3 days in the dark. I forgot about them, and then they sprouted. So when they sprout, you increase the protein content by between about 15 and 30%. It's quite a lot extra that you get from doing that. So you can do that with pretty much all legumes. if you want more protein out of them, that's what you do, is you just soak them in water, you leave them in the cupboard in the dark, wait for them to sprout, and then you use them in your cooking.
Okay.
And they're much more nutritious doing that. And taste a lot different too. They're quite nice, really.
Okay. All these vegetables, they're from the
garden, these ones.
From the garden.
From Mum's garden, aren't they? Are they from ours? I don't know. Either way, doesn't matter.
Anyway.
Okay.
That's all right. Now we're just gonna say cheerio.
I think we're done for a week. So comments and questions, let us know.
Yeah, you guys let us know what you want to.
If there's something more you want us to explain, or you want me to talk about something else, leave a comment, and I'll try and answer it next week, and we'll do another one of these next week. I hope you got something out of that.
Yeah.
Look out for the next one next week.
All
Have
right.
a good weekend. Bye.
Have a good weekend. Bye.